Well, it's Tuesday. Well, you all know what normally that means. Normally, when it comes to Tuesday wrestling, we review NWA, Power, and of course, NXT. But however, certain circumstances change because of NWA, and I'll explain that a little bit at the end of this video. But however, I decided due to the fact because if you guys know, I just recently uploaded the latest DWZ discussion that took a little bit of my time to do so. So we'll be doing that. As you know, I'm going to keep this a bit shorter with just two reviews. So the first one, as you know, New Japan has started the New Beginning tour, and this time they'll be doing a 2-day show in Korakuen Hall. And of course, it becomes very emotional. As you know, certain wrestlers are leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling very soon. And then, of course, we move on with NXT, where it features, of course, one match of the Dusty the Rhodes Classics, revealing who's going to be advancing into the final round, and we got other matches also taking place as well. We also move on with some news updates to tell what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are putting out, who's booked, what matches are set, and of course developments that are in fact happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as certain circumstances going on in the companies, rumors, speculations, all that other stuff. But I decided to cap this episode of with a very interesting thing involving Tam Nakano and, of course, the Cosmic Angels, which is something, if you guys been aware of or not, since through the entirety of this channel, I'm a fan of. So I'll explain more about that as well. So let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do all things that is pro wrestling involving various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos such as the promotions, wrestlers, faction storylines, well, wherever we want to get our hands on. We also do more news updates. If I'm unable to put it on this episode, I can do it on a separate video by itself and other cool stuff as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So give us a click on the subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool stuff as well. But if you like this episode, please click on the like button or leave us a nice comment down in the description down below. Now, let's begin with our very first review, and this is, of course, we continue with more of the latest tour by New Japan Pro Wrestling, The New Beginning, and they made their way to Korakuen Hall. Now, before we begin the actual matches, Master Wato comes out he showed up on crutches, but the circumstances is his match against Sho was canceled due to an injury he obtained. So he had addressed the fan base about what's going on and all this. But all of a sudden, that sliving little piece of garbage shows up, whacks him down, and makes fun of him, saying, "Ha ha 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 ha! I put in the shelf the last year's Best of the Super Junior." So basically, Sho thinks now that he's out of the way, he thinks he has a much better chance to win the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, which he's been aiming for a long time. But luckily, Desperado showed up for the save. But Sho, he's extremely happy. He thinks that he finally won, but Master Wato will be back with a vengeance. Trust me on that. Now, our first match, we have, of course, the rookies teaming up with the vet. Shoma Kato teams up with Yo. They face against Katsuya Murashima and Ryusuke Taguchi. So, not much of a big deal, but I have to say, we always, when we see rookies, we tend to see, okay, could they live up exactly what they are intending to do? We know that there's promising ones that we've seen over time. I mean, recently we're seeing like Shota Umino, Yu Umura, Yoda Suji, Red Narita. They all came from the same class, and I think they have grown up a lot as well. But what did these guys do? Well, there were moments, of course, where we saw Yo. He was trying to ensure that Kato gets his first win, but unfortunately, Kato ended up in the wrong side of an ankle lock by Taguchi, giving him and his tag partner, um, what's his name again? Oh yeah, Murashima, their win together. So yeah, so they received the first W. Now our next match, as you know, the Bullet Club and the United Empire's war rages on. As you know, David Philly will love nothing more than see Will Ospreay leave in a casket. As you know, this war has been escalating for far too long. So we have the United Empire consisting of Calvin Newman, Francisco Cara, TJP, Hinare, and Grado Khan taking on the Bullet Club War Dogs, Drilla Maloney, Clark Connors, Gabe Kidd, Alex Coughlin, and David Finley. So you know that this war was going to be intensified no matter what, of course. Gabe Kidd, who goes running his mouth saying that his opponent ain't nothing but crap, that he is the real deal, but yeah, right. But, of course, in this match, we did see Akira picked up a very impressive win with the schoolboy on Clark Connors. But you know that this war between both Bullet Club and United Empire is far, far from over. Now, speaking of the Bullet Club, we have the other members of the Bullet Club consisting of Taiji Shimuri, uh, Chase Owens, and Kenta taking on GOD, consistent of Yado, Hikuleo, and El Fantasma. Don't forget, Chase Owens and Kenta are now aiming for the IWGP heavyweight titles that both Hikuleo and El Fantasma are aiming for. But however, this match was very much a warm up or a preview what is yet to come. But however, it was Kenta who picked up a win onto Yado, sending a message saying that those titles are coming home with them. Now, our next match, we have TMDK, Shane Haste, Mikey Nichols, and Zack Sabre Jr. taking on Tomoaki Hamna, and our current never openweight champions, Ishii, Tanahashi, and Okada. Now, keep in mind, Fujita has aimed for the never openweight titles, so basically, this is a bit of a preview to that. But I kind of figured this match was going to end with the ones not involved in the actual match later on. Where it was Zack Sabre Jr. who picked up the win with an armbar to Tomoaki Hamna, sending a direct message saying that those belts are coming off of them since Okada's leaving. And of course, there are wrestlers who are saying now that Okada's gone, that means that someone is going to step up as the next ace or so. But yeah. Now our next match we have Shota Umino teaming up with Togi Makabe and Tama Tonga to take on once again those dickheads, the House of Torture, Yujiro Takahashi, Red Narita, and Evil. Of course, Evil is happy that he got rid of Tama Tonga, but he's not done just yet, that sort of thing. But once again, like always, like any other type with House of Torture, with their unnecessary tactics, they continue to play dirty games when the referee is out. Things are going out of hand. But once again, Narita used the push-up bar on Makabe to pick up the win. But you know this war between Narita and Umino is almost not over yet. So we'll see where that goes. Now our semi-main event. Well, this was supposed to be the one with Sho and Wado. We have just five guys: Taka Michinoku, Doiki, Yuya Omura, Taichi, and Sanada taking on Lij's Bushi, Hiromu, what's his name? Hiromu. Oh yeah, Yoda Suji, uh, Shingo Tagagi, and of course Tetsuya Naito. So as you know, this is also another preview because Sonata will get another opportunity against Naito. So that is something we could expect. But the match, of course, there's still some, let's see, factors in this. Of course, Shuji will love nothing more than have another shot at Yuji Uemura for the loss he had at Wrestle Kingdom, and that, of course. But however, I thought it was a pretty good match. Not to mention, it was um, a super kick by Taichi to Bushi to pick up the win. However, this is a very interesting what happened. Taichi proposed an interesting match involving both teams. Now, let me pull it up for all of you. He actually said it, and I thought it was very interesting. Now, this is what he said. Hold up a second. We have a proposal. Next time, February 5th, a rare faction gauntlet match. Not elimination tag. It's a win and stay in. Now, let's make it interesting. Nobody knows the match order until they have their entrance. Now, it's 10 minutes time limits, it's but no but I don't want this to end in a draw. It has to if it's down to the last person, no time limit. How about it? So I'm sure this is an exciting match that Lij probably would love to be in. So we'll see what they say, but I'm very interesting. Now our next match. This is for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title against two former partners now on the opposite side from each other. We're talking about the challenger Yoshinobu Kanemaru and of course the current champion El Desperado. If you guys remember clearly, Kanemaru and Despi, they used to be tag team partners in the junior heavyweight division, but now that of course Kanemaru is with House of Torture, this is where of course they're trying to regain this title. Now, this whole idea was to prevent Wato from attaining the belt and make sure this belt goes directly to House of Torture. That was the whole point. But of course, there was going to be moments where Kanemaru will think exactly what Desperado would think. How would he try to beat him? But like any other type of match, of course, when the referee's knocked down, House of Frickin' Torture shows up, tries to rain on the parade, but luckily, thank God for Tama, who showed up for the save, stopped them from ruining the day. But it was, of course, Desperado with the Dos submission onto Kanemaru to retain the belt. Now, this is what happened afterwards. In the post match comments in the backstage, frickin' Show showed up, and once again, being the total dickhead that he is, he attacked Desperado, telling him he's next. But, of course, Desperado's not going to ignore him, but sooner or later he'll get his hands on him because Show is saying he is the real star of the junior heavyweight division. Everyone else are just jobbers. He's always claiming that, but he has never won this title. So we'll see what happens. Now I do know there's going to be another New Beginning show this and for day 2 in Korakuen Hall. That's probably going to be on the next episode. But right now let's move on to our final review, and that is NXT. Okay, NXT. It opened up with, of course, with the semifinals of the Dusty Rhodes Classic. We have Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin taking on Nathan Frazier and Axiom. Now, this match is very interesting. You have two powerful guys, strong individuals, against wrestlers who are mostly we know in the cruiserweight division. But now it's between speed and strength, or should I say, speed and powerhouse, as you probably would say. So, how will this factor? We know that Axiom can calculate what is going to happen. But, however, you would have assumed it would have been an interesting upset for Axiom and Nathan Frazier to defeat Corbin and Breaker. But, however, it was the spear by Braun Breaker that put away Nathan Frazier, making them advance into the finals. Now we don't know when the next who will be in the finals. So we only have LWO, Cruz, and Wild taking on Hayes um and Williams. And I think that match will take place next week. Now Ilya Dragunov showed up, and well, he was approached by Josh Briggs. Now Josh Briggs took the words of advice from JBL, so he's issuing a challenge for him. But however, Trick Williams decided to defend him, like to ensure that this thing, of course, is 100. That Dragunov is 100% okay. But however, of course, this match later on it became the main event: Trick Williams versus Josh Briggs. Now, of course, Josh Briggs probably will be aiming for the NXT title soon enough, but he has to wait until Trick Williams has his match with them at No Surrender, no, at Vengeance Day. My bad, my bad. Anyway, as you know, we saw Ren Sinclair, formerly known as Maddie Rinkowski, pulled up a very interesting over the top mat last week when she eliminated Lash Legend. So she was a bit nervous. I mean, she knew what she got herself into. But Fanny Henley, who decided to introduce herself, tried to calm her down. She knows that she's new. She needs to control her composure. So that's pretty interesting from Fallon to do to help out someone new. Now, the most interesting thing happened right after, of course, coming out of Shawn Michaels' office. We see Ava Reigns and the returning William Regal, and it was later announced that Ava Reigns is the new general manager of NXT. So, of course, Regal kind of gave her advice, saying, you know, you're going to have to deal with a bunch of people that get on your face, people who demand things. But Ava Reigns says that she can handle it because she knows that, of course, William Regal will always be one of the best general managers in NXT. That she has some very big shoes to fill. So we'll see how she'll do. I'm sure she'll be completely different from William Regal, but we'll see how time progresses with her. Now, our next match we have Lash Legend versus Ren Rakowski. Now, of course, Lash Legend would love nothing more to get even with her for eliminating her last week. But of course, there's X factor on this one is the numbers games. Don't forget, Lash Legend has Metaphor by her side. And of course, it was going to cause a problem. But however, it was a choke bomb by Lash Legend to put away Rukowski. And then as soon as the post match began, everybody in Metaphor were ganging up on Rukowski. But thank God for Family Henley to save her. Basically, now Ren has a new friend. So that's a good thing to have. Now, earlier in the day, we see, of course, OTM. They attacked the restaurant establishment by the family. Of course, Rizzo got beaten up by Jada Parker. And, of course, we see Price, Lima, and Scripps sending a direct message to the Don and, of course, his underboss, Stax. So, basically, they're not happy. They did respond a little later that this is a big mistake what they committed, attacking Rizzo and their establishment. So there's going to be hell to pay. And of course, this is going to be awesome to watch. Now, we do see Electra Lopez showed up, and she's been looking for Lola Vice after what happened 2 weeks ago. Or was it last week? Last week, yes. Last week, if you guys remember, Lola Vice stabbed her in the back, eliminating her. So that was pretty much obvious. And then, of course, we see Ariana Grace, who was doing her little hey, like being all graceful and all this. Electra looking for her, but she completely ignored her because she was looking for Lola Vice. So we'll get to that in a bit. Now, we were supposed to have a match or whatever. Here comes Dijak out of the entrance, and then Gazy attacked him. This became no match. It became a full-blown mayhem unleashed in the entirety. Now, what's crazy is, what was crazy, Dijak put Joe Gacy through a wall. He came out of it. Then he put him through a freaking door, and it's like Gazy's like a man possessed. Like he's like saying, "I'm not going nowhere. I'm not going nowhere." I'm like, Dijak always gets away with everything, but the real question does tell: how is Dijak going to deal with a guy, no matter what you put him through? He always says his form of justice is punishment. How are you gonna punish a guy like him? Who knows? But we'll see. Now, in a very interesting segment, Von Wagner, along with Mr. Stone, they went to a football field. As those who are aware of Von Wagner's background, he used to play football. So basically, he's telling him that he got to prepare himself for the upcoming match for the Heritage Cup. So basically, he had his kids help him out. So basically, he's getting a lot of help from not only Mr. Stone, but the let's call them the little rascals, but they're fun to watch. So I have to say it's a pretty good segment. But of course, there's going to be some interesting elements involved in that match. But that match will take place, I believe, next week. Now, of course, there's concerns over what's been happening. Mello doesn't like the idea of. All right, let me go back. Oh yeah. Anyway, as you know, we did saw Trick Williams intervene between both Dragunov and Briggs. Mello doesn't seem like he likes what he's doing, but I understand Trick Williams. He wants Dragunov to be at 100% for their match in, of course, Vengeance Day. But the one thing that Mello does not like is the fact you put yourself in a double standard match. I mean, like he's saying, we could possibly have the chance to win the finals of the Dusty Cup, but now you have to go through that. So that draws concern. But Williams feels like he has everything under control, but we will see what happens. Now, as you know, Noah Dar with his show Supernova Session, he brings in Lola Vice. Lola goes out of her way to call Electra Lopez a leech. So, of course, Electra Lopez was not going to take that crap from her, and she tells her that I got here due to recommendations from Santos Escobar and this and that. He's saying that you were nothing but a wannabe wrestler who originally you were going to be in a movie, and then you've been doing shadow boxing, MMA shadow boxing in a bikini, shaking your ass off in Instagram. So, of course, this was going to end into a brawl between those two. So, their match will take place next week. Now, our next match, we have Dragon Lee versus Scripps. Now, of course, Dragon Lee is still like, how do I say, still not happy with the fact that Oba Femi will not grant him his rematch over, of course, what happened last 2 weeks ago, losing the North American title to Oba Femi. However, during this entire match, you know that OTM, Price, and Lima, along with Parker, were going to get involved. But unfortunately, the family showed up to deal with the mess. So basically, Scripps is like, cannot believe it. He ended up all alone with no backup. However, while he got distracted, Dragon Lee applied the Operation Dragon and picked up the win. However, Obafemi, who's been watching the entire time, how do I say, this match kind of, how to say, helped them plead his case. Obafemi grant him this match at Vengeance Day. Now, as you know, Chase U has been dealing with some difficulties. It appears that the doors are closing and all this and that. So it's kind of sad. But we did see later on Jay-Z Jane and Thea Hale, and then of course they were interrupted by Lexis King, but Osborne was in a save. So it's still unclear what's happening from here on out. Now, as you know, Malik Blade and Edris Enofe are not, they're practically, how do I say, down on their luck because they did not get to advance in the Dusty Cup. But Brienne Reese showed up. I don't know what she's trying to do with these guys, but they're like not in the mood, but they know they have to get back on the high horse. So it's more like, at this point, I'm willing to try something. So basically, it's more like they have no other choice. So yeah. Now our next match, we have Blair Davenport and of course Carmen Petrovic. This match was leading back from the Battle Royal took place. What was it? 2 weeks ago or last week? So yeah, oh no, last week. So you know that this is going to be an interesting match, but of course, Blair Davenport brutalized, of course, um, Carmen Petrovic until she put her in a knee strike. So that sets it up. Now, during an interview with Rich Holland by Kelly, as you know, uh, um, at, Joe Coffey goes out saying that he has no friends, but of course, that's not what he was there for. So he feels like he can do things on his own. So that sets it all as well. Now, our main event features Josh Briggs and Trick Williams, so there was going to be interesting factors in this one. Now, Ilya Dragunov was right there in the commentary section um, watching this because I think he's more interested to see how this will progress. However, there was a big mistake. Apparently, Briggs, a big boot Dragunov. The last thing you need is to piss off the Czar. That's something. But however, luckily, Williams was able to pick up the win. And then things are becoming out of hand with Briggs, Dragunov, and everybody. So all hell is breaking loose in this matter. So, sorry about that. I knocked off my clipboard. So, yeah. Now, before the end of the show, we did see a contract signing for Vengeance Day for the NXT Women's title. The challenger, Roxanne Perez, who in fact never lost that belt, never been pinned or submitted. And then, of course, Lyra Valkyria. So, of course, they said their thing, what they had to say, but they had to save this match till Vengeance Day. But out of nowhere, I don't know what she was thinking. Tatum Paxley showed up and put Roxanne Perez through the table, and Lyra was not happy about it. Like, she's like, "What are you doing?" So I don't know what she was thinking, but this is not good. So that's interesting to see. So I think that's pretty much it right now with all the reviews. Let's move on to some news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's talk about updates with the promotions on their events coming up. First one, let's talk about the GCW. As you know, for the Look at Me show coming up real soon on the 26th of this month, two matches have been announced. We have Broski Jimmy Lloyd taking on Jai Vidal. Then we have a six-person tag match. We have Los Macizos, Ciclope, and Medio Extremo teaming up with Rina Yamashita to take on Alec Price, Cole Roderick, and of course, Mr. Danger. Now, as later on it was announced that two more shows have been added for their March events at the Showboat in Atlantic City. The first one is on March 9th, and that one's the Ashes to Ashes. The second one will be on the 10th of March. So much fun. Now, no announcements have been announced who will be involved, but I'll continue to, of course, update you when those announcements will be made as soon as possible. Now, as you know, I talked about a much recent discovery of a promotion based out of France. Well, there's two of them actually that I know of. Banger Zone Wrestling. They announced that on their show on February 3rd, I believe, Minoru Suzuki will be making his appearance and taking on the same opponent that Mustafa Ali faced, Agle Blanc, I believe. So I don't know if I'll be able to see that, but I'll do my best to find information about it. Now, three new names have been announced for the upcoming JCW's Jersey Cup tournament that goes from between the 9th and 10th of February. We have Carrie Morn as our number 12th entrant, Our 13th entrant is Korakuen, and finally, our 14th, the Great Sasuke. So yes, so he'll be making his appearance. Um, KAOZ Lucha Libre, as you know, they'll be celebrating the 39th anniversary of Blue Demon on the 24th of March. It was revealed that the Chaos Tag Team titles will be defended. The current champions are none other than Alpha Wolf and Dragon Bane, who are the current champions. They'll defend it in a three-way match. Their opponents, team number one, Marty Skrull and El Cobarde, and the other tag team are none other than Hijo del LA Park and LA Park Jr. So that's right. LA Park's sons will be involved in that match. Developments coming up for the New Japan Windy City on April 12th. It was announced that Minoru Suzuki will be participating in that particular show, and also Nick Manett. So Nick Manett will be participating at the New Japan Strong shows as well. Now, finally, for our last update on the promotions, Prestige Wrestling, as you know, announced for Roseland 8 taking place in April 18th. They announced many debuts taking place. We have Dirty Breeze, consistent of Dirty Dango and Tyler Breeze. So this will be their debut. And of course, as you know, he's been making a big buzz ever since he started 2024. I'm talking about Mustafa Ali also will be making his Prestige Wrestling debut. And I'm sure that that entire venue will be sold out because of him. And then, of course, another debut, and three of them from the same faction. The Bullet Club War Dogs will be making their debut as well. David Finley, Gabe Kidd, and Clark Connors. Now, let's talk about some interesting developments that have been happening. It was later revealed by Wrestling Observer that Black Taurus has signed with AEW. Now, no official announcements were made. Now, and when it comes to making, say, who they signed, normally they would announce it on their official X account. They would say he is all elite or she's all elite. So we haven't seen nothing like that. I'm sure that will be announced at some point, but we'll see what happens. Now, for our final development, as you know, I mentioned Shuji Ishikawa was I did a discussion video involving All Japan. Shuji Ishikawa made his decision to leave the promotion. Uh, of course, there was a lot of distrust towards the president Fukuda. He explains what was his reasons. Here's why. As you know, recently, at-risk girls made their appearance at the last three shows of All Japan Pro Wrestling, which I reviewed. Apparently, he did not like the idea of having a working relationship with at-risk girls while they're in development, having their project Evolution Girls, which is run by Suwama. I understand because I remember Ishikawa was part of building this project that's headed by Suwama. So I think I understand what's going on. Ishikawa felt we have the Evolution Girls. What do we need them for? It makes perfect sense. So whatever Fukuda did, I understand what Ishikawa is feeling. He feels that we have the Evolution Girls. We don't need them. So we'll see what happens. But I understand what he was talking about. And I think that's pretty much it with our developments and everything else. Let's move on to, of course, talk about Tam Nakano and the Cosmic Angels. Okay, for those who've been aware for the entirety of this channel, you guys know perfectly well, ever since I started watching Stardom, I became a fan of the Cosmic Angels. Now, I want to make this perfectly clear. I didn't become a fan because I find them cute. I didn't find them because they do their dance and all that. I became a fan because I love the storylines that they put out. When I first started watching them, as you know, I considered them as the ultimate underdogs, the team that many factions think that they'll never be at the top. We've been seeing the progression over time. I mean, Tam winning the white belt, overcoming against Julia on many occasions, including with the red belt and all that. Now, a much interesting development has happened. Now, if you guys remember clearly, before the Dream Queendom show back on December 29th, it was announced that Tam Nakano won for Yoshi MVP by Tokyo Sports. She received the most votes on that one. And of course, recently, as you know, not too long ago, they had the Stardom Awards. Tam Nakano won for MVP. But the much recent announcement was made. Tam Nakano won. Hold on, let me pull it up. Um, she won the Women's Pro Wrestling Grand Prix MVP by Shupro. So that people are saying, and I have to say I agree with them. She is now a triple award winner. So she won 3 awards involving 2023. So even it's more like right now Tam has reached her highest potential. Now she was involved at number 5 as Pro Wrestling Grand Prix. Natsupoi was also involved in that too. Tam Nakano had second place for best match in Shu Pro with at the All Star Grand Queendom with Julia. Um, and I think she was number 1 as favorite wrestler. Now, however, when it comes to the Cosmic Angels, people thought that they were done because, okay, yes, we don't see Unagi anymore because she was fired from Stardom and she's doing her great thing. And not to mention, recently during the Stardom Awards, Sayuri Onoe and Natsupoi won Best Tag Team. So that's kind of cool. And of course, somebody pointed out they're still killing it even after things had changed, and it's true. I feel that they reached their much stronger point as a unit, and not to mention, as you know, for 2 years, Cosmic Angels won for the Shu Pro Best Unit Award, and surprise, surprise, third year in a row, Cosmic Angels won Best Unit Award for the Shu Pro. It's like you can hate them, you can love them, but that's pretty much it. Now, I know some people who are DDM fans are probably going to say DDM should have won it. I agree, but this was voted by the fans, and that's something I can't do nothing about. So it would make sense. But the real question I ask myself, okay, now that Cosmic Angels are back on the map, where do we go from here? We do know that Tam will make her return real soon on starting in February, where she teams up with with Yuna Mizumori to take on Mina Shirakawa and Waka Tsukiyama. So we will see where that leads us from here on out for Tam and the rest of the Cosmic Angels. We know that Sarunui will defend her belt against Starlight Kid, and she said she already had plans. But people are already speaking that sooner or later, uh, Natsupo will have to challenge Sarunui for that belt. We know that Tam said she would like to have a match against Saruri Inouye because she's never beat her. So we'll see where that leads us from here on out. I'm sure that any Cosmic Angel fans are probably wondering, okay, where do we go from here now for 2024? Right now, it's an unknown road, but as fans, we need to continue to support them. So I think that's pretty much it for everything on this episode. Let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Before I proceed to speak about the upcoming episode, for those who know, when it comes to Tuesday Wrestling, I normally I review it. But however, it was later told that starting next week, NWA will be on the CW. They said to get on the app. Uh, we'll just see about that. But I'll wait until that day happens. But for right now, that's what I'm going to say. Now, for our next episode, we are featuring, of course, AEW Dynamite and New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I'm excited for all of that. But however, I haven't decided. I was right now debating should I add maybe one or two reviews. I haven't decided on that just yet. I also will be doing my next podcast. I haven't done it for almost 2 or 3 weeks now. So if you guys have me on the podcast, look for me on Spotify, DWZ podcast with J Rod. So look for me on that. I think that's pretty much it for everything else. I believe I will say this now that I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day.